Hello, everyone, and welcome live to the World Racing Network for tonight's broadcast of the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Live here tonight from the Milwaukee Mile here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am Mitchell Adams, and I am going to be taking you through tonight's regular season finale here at the Milwaukee Mile. Tonight's going to be an action-packed night of racing here on the World Racing Network. Glad you all can join us here tonight. I think Patrick Morrison might be joining me a little later on as well. Let's take a look here because I went live slightly earlier than normal, I should say. And I don't know that they have 6 minutes left in practice. There were some server issues here with iRacing, but we have all that situated, so I expect any time now we're going to roll over into qualifying. We're going to go ahead and take a look here at the playoff point standings because tonight is the regular season finale, and a big shout out to Trey Whited for posting this in Discord, and here it is for our uses here. These are the playoff standings for the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Again, tonight is the regular season finale. So after tonight, the top 10 drivers here in the playoff point standings will be the ones racing for the championship. We've talked all season about needing to put in the work, get those points, and now is the time you're going to see that paying off for 10 drivers. And for the rest of the field, they've got a long rest of the season before they get another chance next year. So as you can see here, 9 drivers have locked themselves into the playoffs. 7 with a win. Justin White and Martin Plute both locked in on points. And Ira Kohlhaas sits with a very comfortable 176-point gap over the cut line. That is not out of reach of Brock Whited here. But that is a very difficult task. And Ira Kohlhaas currently sitting 9th on the speed charts, right in front of Brock Whited as well in the number 8 machine. But Ira looking good here to make Beer Street Journal playoffs if tonight is an uneventful night. And this is the Milwaukee Mile, so that is a lot harder said than done. This is one of the trickiest tracks on the schedule, and we'll look at that as well here in a minute. Now I'll direct your attention up to the top of the standings. Let me check my scoring. I actually have my scoring has this differently. Alright, so this has Adam Pettit up in your points lead. No, it is Nate Maurer in your points lead there at the top. Nate Maurer leads the points 67 over Adam Pettit here coming into tonight's race. A good run here for Nate Maurer, who, might I add, is leading the speed charts at the moment. And that will lock up the regular season championship. Of course, Adam Pettit, never count him out. He is second in speed in practice at 67 points. A lot to make up here in one race on Simbox Racing's Nate Maurer. And that does take you through your point standing. So Ira Kohlhaas in the 29, going to be the driver we pay a lot of attention to here tonight. Brock Whited, Sam Kohlhaas in the chase, and then everyone else there I think is out of reach here of this. I believe now I'm being joined by Patrick Morrison after my fun points rant here I've been going through.
Yeah, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, just telling everybody. Pretty straightforward points here tonight. Ira Kohlhaas, 176 points in front of Brock Whited for that final playoff spot. So we're going to have to keep our eye on the 29 here tonight, but it's the Milwaukee Mile. Anything can happen, and we had see, the 31 actually getting a little squirrely out of pit road. Watch where you spin out. The production truck will get you here. But yeah, these drivers been out here taking practice. We did a server swap, so this server's only been open about 10 minutes. So I don't know that these completely accurately reflect the times from the last one, but we have Nate Maurer, who comes into tonight, your regular season point standings leader. He's fastest in practice. Jason Grassi is back here tonight, though, and we know if you've been watching the series how much of a winning streak Jason Gracias has had going on. Not the last start, I don't believe, but it's been a great season for Gracias, but we've got a great night of action here. I'm glad you're joining me again. It's always fun having you up here in the booth with me.
Oh yeah, man. Especially here at the Beer Street Journal. I love it, man. What these guys can do, how the races play out. But man, here at the Milwaukee Mile, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's a really flat track. It's going to be a hard time to get around here, Mitchell. And well, I'm looking here from the outside. It's track temperature at 101 degrees right now. Practice. I mean, is this going to start playing up on some of these guys here later on in the race, or what should we be looking out for?
I think the big thing coming in here, and I will admit to you all, this is one of the few tracks on the schedule, I think the only one, I've never actually ran a race on, so I don't know exactly what these guys have in store for them myself, but I do know I've talked to a lot of people about this track. Very high tire wear, very difficult on the long runs is kind of the impression I got from talking to some of these drivers, so I definitely expect to see a big difference in who pushes hard and who is really laying back and saving those tires. I think tire strategy could be the highlight here tonight. And let's check. I do believe they have 3 sets of tires for tonight to get through this 90-lap race. So that could get a little tricky if we get some cautions. We know it's a mile track. It tends to get really racy here, very flat. So you and I both know a shorter, flat track that can kind of create a little bit of chaos on the racetrack. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially what they have going on here. I was going to say, Mitchell, did you know back in 1905 this track used to be dirt, and then they paved it in 1954 is what you see here. So quick little information there for you. But man, check it. Interesting to see being able to, if you think about it, how would you drift around this in dirt? But to me, I'm glad they paved it. I'm not much of a dirt guy myself.
I'm not either. I'm not very good at all on the dirt track. I did not know that tidbit. See, this is why we love color commentary, because you learn things that I couldn't tell you here. Rolling over into qualifying as well now, Patrick. It was Nate Maurer being the fastest in practice, but we'll see what happens here in qualifying. Jason Gracias the first to take out the track. It almost seems this would definitely be the biggest dirt track on iRacing. I don't think I've ever personally seen one this large. I wonder if they scaled it up when they paved it, or this whole thing.
Yeah, if you're thinking, how the guys originally started out moonshine racing, Daytona was raced in sand. So I mean, I could see they could run here in the dirt or whatnot, but I was going to say they even, I believe, they raced this track after the Indy 500. There was actually an IndyCar circuit here. They kind of had some bad feeling about that. I think the guys had trouble cornering on this track, so they may have scrapped it later on, but they did bring it back. 1950 is when they've been running it.
The more you know. See, this is what you tune into the World Racing Network. You never know what you're going to get here. I'll do my little play-by-play job here and tell you that Trey Whited in the 33 up leading the qualifying standings right now, Patrick. But again, a lot of drivers have yet to take time here. And qualifying, no one has finished their qualifying run yet.
Ooh.
There's Phillip going to the top of the charts. Jason Gracias knocks him off the top of the charts. Again, Trey Whited very graciously made these standings for us. I don't know that he made them for us so much, but he posted playoff standings for us to use. So again, big thank you to Trey in the 33. Doug Neal in the 77 goes to the top of the speed charts here in qualifying. Doug Neal's driver, we've both seen, he's had a pretty good string of races going here. Martinsville was a good run for him last week, so here's a driver building up that momentum going into the playoffs, and really all the Simbox racing cars really doing a good job. Nate Maurer picked up the win last week, so this is a team with some momentum building up right when they want it to.
Yeah, a lot of guys actually starting to put some good placement in there. Justin White in the 6th, Martin Plute in 7th, and Ira Kohlhaas there in the 8th. So a lot of, and I thought Trey and Brock were going to stay up top on the leaderboard a lot more, but they are getting kind of bumped back there a little bit. As you even see Josh Sobel there going ahead and taking the 4th position so far. So really a lot of guys starting to collect up here. And I believe we've only got 14 that qualified so far here, Mitchell. So we still got a little bit of time here left in qualifying. These guys may be kind of waiting for the track temperature to get a little different, or wait for the marbles to get out of the way and going ahead and posting a fast lap here.
Yeah, and we are just now seeing as well the 2 fastest in practice going out here to take some hot laps. You see Adam Pettit here on your screen. He is about ready to start his qualifying run. The 971 of Nate Maurer also working his way down the back straightaway for his lap. New paint scheme as well for Nate Maurer in the 971. I like what I see here from the Simbox Racing team. Adam Pettit goes to 14th on the speed charts on his lap number 1. Nate Maurer goes to the very top of the speed chart. You see Adam Pettit sliding through 3 and 4. We'll see if he can improve on this lap, but Nate Maurer set the mark in the 971. He's your fastest in qualifying. Adam Pettit goes to 11th with 45 seconds left. I think what we see is what we're going to get here in qualifying. So Nate Maurer going out, making that statement here, headed into the race. Fastest in practice, gonna get the pole, and we'll see what he can do in the race. But again, it is going to be a long race, and a lot of drivers looking to pick up those last-minute points before we head into the Beer Street Journal playoffs.
Yeah, and it is definitely the time to collect them, but really a tough track to try to collect any points at all. I mean, I would much rather, a super speedway trying to get the squeeze right before you get to the playoffs. This being such a flat and tough track, I mean, it's all going to be on your positioning. It's going to be based on your fuel mileage. It's going to be based on how your tire wear is, and then where you qualify here. So if you're Nate Maurer and Doug Neal, the Simbox Racing, machines up front, 1-2. This is going to be awesome for your team, as this is going to give you a huge boost as long as you can finish after these 100 laps. This should give you a major boost into the playoffs.
And that is the big thing, finishing the race. We talk about it every week. So it's not as easy to do as it sounds, and especially at a tricky track like this. We will see who can do it here. Drivers getting on the grid. Thought I found, there we go, back on the racetrack, and we will take you through your starting order here. It is going to be a Simbox Motorsports lock on the front row. Nate Maurer in the 971 picks up the pole. The 77 is teammate Doug Neal, going to roll off in second. Starting in third is Philip Scott in the 99. In fourth is Jason Gracias. In fifth place is going to be Josh Sobel in the 75 machine. Starting sixth is Trey Whited. Seventh is going to be Justin White. Starting in eighth is the 4 machine of Martin Clute. Starting in ninth is that driver in 10th on the bubble, Ira Kohlhaas. And to his outside in 10th, the driver trying to take that final playoff spot from him here tonight, Brock Whited.
All right, and it looks like Adam Pettit is trying to load up for that 11th position in his Ford. Mike Tellier, and in the last Toyota, in 12th position in the 47 machine. 48 will be Tom Lester in the 13th. 14th position, Noah Owens in the 88. Hoping to see how well he does here tonight. Steven Lezinski there in his 13 Chevrolet, starting 15th. 16th, we're looking at Adam Newton. 17th, we got Stan Hausman in the 39 Beer Street Journal Chevrolet. Bryce Hunter in the 49. Should be starting, I believe, 18th. And Jason Shue in the 19th position in his 3 Chevrolet. So I do not see, I'm not sure if Adam Pettit had a slow start or a little connection issue there, Mitchell. I'm not sure if something happened there with him.
Yeah.
See that he is in pit lane. Sorry about that, bud.
No, you're good. Yeah, Adam Pettit missing the start here. That is devastating. Wanting to get up here, try and get those points headed into the playoffs on Nate Maurer, but that is not the way the 83 going to want to start this off, and he struggled last week as well at Martinsville. So tonight, Pettit hoping for the rebound, but it's going to be tricky for him at the beginning. But it's a long race, like you said, 100 laps here. I've been saying 90, excuse me for that. Here at the Milwaukee Mile, in the pace car, about to head down pit road and turn the field over to Nate Maurer in the 971. It is the regular season finale, and we are green flag here from the Milwaukee Mile. It is a good start for Nate Maurer up the inside lane as well. Philip Scott there. Patrick in the 99 trying to make quick work of Doug Neal, but we'll see what kind of fight the outside lane has in it as they race down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Doug Neal, I guarantee you, he has his eyes locked outside that driver's window there, watching that 99 slide up a little bit. First thing into 1 and 2, but looks like Philip Scott in his 99 Ford goes ahead and settles into second place, now putting the sights on Nate Maurer. So Doug Neal back to third, Jason Gracias in fourth, and Trey Whitehead still battling back there with Josh Sobel there for the 5th position.
Yeah, side by side for 5th between Trey Whitehead, Josh Sobel here. Trey Whitehead able to fend off Sobel through turns 1 and 2, and he's going to keep the 6th position. Yeah, 5th position. Second guess myself. Down the back straightaway. It was exactly the start Nate Maurer wanted up front. You see him already starting to scoot out to just a little bit of a gap over Philip Scott in the 99 machine, but Philip, you see already different lines here through the corner, Patrick. Philip really kind of entered higher, tried to work lower on exit, whereas Nate Maurer really painting that inside curve. And that's another thing we need to talk about, this curb up the inside lane. That thing, I have been told by the drivers as well, if you hit that yellow striping there on the inside, that is going to shoot your car up the racetrack. I don't think these Beer Street Journal Grand National Series cars like that curve very much. You see it right there up the inside, and I think he might, I don't know what he's doing. I think he might even be shifting a little bit here. We're riding on board as well. I guess I should pop up who we're riding on board with. This is Nate Maurer, your race leader. You see just how flat as well Patrick is, and we talk about flat tracks, and we always say they're a challenge, but that's really, it's because of how much it wears the tires. Getting through this corner, you really have to crank that wheel when there's not that banking to carry you through the corner, and we see just how much these cars kind of slide up if they're not wanting to. Quick Adam Pettit update also. He is back out on the racetrack, lead lap. We're running 22 seconds behind your race leader, but Pettit is in the race for you Adam Pettit fans out in chat.
Yeah, quick little update. You know, you are thinking about it when we were talking about flat tracks. These cars are getting up to about 150 miles an hour and then slowing down for about a 90 mile an hour turn as flat as it is. So there is some slight banking, but not a lot, and it does play a lot on that right front and that right rear tire, hopefully not sliding around. Some guys tend to overlook actually left rear tire, which will help you get the grip here at the track. But really, Nate Maurer, in his 971 Simbox machine, that kind of seems to be his strong suit, is if Nate Maurer can get out front and stay out in the lead, he's almost got the, you know, he's got it sealed, and the deal's done. So everybody's going to be playing chase. It's just that can Nate Maurer stay out front, because Philip Scott's down a different line, and he's going to be trying to reel him in here, Mitchell.
Yeah, and that's what we really don't know over the long run. How are these different lines going to factor into the race tonight? You see, I think Nate Maurer also moving that line up just a little bit. You see Doug Neal in that 77. We'll watch him through 1 and 2 because he did a really good job through 3 and 4. And let's dial up the World Racing Network blimp. You see where all these drivers, they really enter low. The 77 goes just a little higher through the corner. And then you see just paints that stripe on the corner exit. Really everyone doing a good job of it. That's the line I think we're going to be seeing, is drivers kind of enter a little bit higher. Even like Nate Maurer really enters low, diamonds up in the middle, and then gets down low on exit. I think the low exit, Patrick, from what I've seen in practice, really going to be the key to saving the tires. And that kind of applies at a lot of the tracks we go to. But especially at a track like this where the tires are going to wear even more, you really want to turn that wheel as little as you want to on exit. And that's kind of what we're seeing the drivers doing, different things, trying to find the best line for their cars. Let's take a look through the fields here. I believe there's a battle a little bit back in the pack. Here, it's the 28 of Sam Kohlhaas and the 3 of Jason Shu. These two were running side by side a little bit ago. New look for the 3 of Jason Shu. I love the orange. Drivers know how to get a little bit more screen time from the production truck. You run my favorite colors.
I like that. I like that, man. But really, you got to be looking at this too, Mitchell. Is, you know, you're saying staying low on exit of the turns. You know, you would think you would have to add more steering input to keep the car from, you know, down lower on the track. How is that going to help? I mean, because normally you would think laws of physics, as I'm coming out of the turn, the car's going to want to kind of go ahead and flow up the track. Wouldn't I have to add some more steering input trying to stay low?
You do. It's we're getting into really technical things, and so to explain this, we're going to ride on board with the 971 again of Nate Maurer here. Actually, I think this would be better demonstrated from the blimp also. You're going to see Nate Maurer in the 971. He's going to enter a little bit higher, and when he runs higher through the center of the corner, the car, I don't know how to explain it other than saying the car likes to turn down a little bit if you don't get on the throttle too fast, and it helps you get the nose pointed more toward the exit of the corner. So if you're running up higher, you can try and straighten the car out through the center of the corner, and that lets you get a little bit of a straighter exit, throttle the car up quicker, versus if you were running down on that yellow line, yeah, you'd have to be really cranking the wheel to hold it down there, and that's why we talk about diamonding the corner, entering higher. That's kind of how drivers achieve it, and if we're seeing people paint that yellow line there on the inside, that's kind of a signal that they don't really think that the straight exit is where the tire saving's gonna be. We'll focus our attention now, this battle here for second place starting to heat up. Philip Scott been under fire the last lap or two from the 77 Simbox machine of Doug Neal. And Phillips had a really good run of the season, but lately it's been up and down for driver of the World Ninja League number 99, but he is fourth place in points, so definitely a strong showing for Philip. At times he has led the regular season points here this season in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Just a little bit short of that this year, but a lot of contenders we've been talking about lately here, all up at the front, and I think that just kind of shows how the cream's starting to rise toward the top of the field as we get closer to the regular season. You see Jason Gracias as well, way up the track. He's under fire from Trey Whited in the 33, who's looking up the inside down the back straightaway.
Yeah, he's going to have to be definitely careful the way he entered that turn. I think he kind of brake checked him a little bit there, wasn't expecting that. And the 33 of Trey Whitehead almost kind of rear-ended him there, so that was very, very close. But I want to throw it back here to Nate Maurer and Philip Scott, as you were saying before, is you do see Philip Scott entering that turn a lot sooner than Nate Maurer is. So Mauer's actually able to kind of triangulate that turn a little bit, but it doesn't seem to really be affecting that 99 machine. He is still only about, 0.3 of a second off of his rear bumper there. So it's not too much. It's two different race lines. I just wonder, tire wear factor, because which one's going to play out better here toward the end.
Typically, the car in the front is going to get better tire wear than whoever's chasing him, just kind of because Philip Scott has to fight. We talk about dirty air. It's the same thing here where Nate Maurer's car up front kind of disturbs the air, and that makes it a little more difficult for Philip Scott to get through the corner. He has to work that wheel just a little bit more when he's running behind Nate Maurer. So I think as long as Nate does what he's doing right now, he's going to be in a good spot. And we see Philip kind of experimenting, running a little bit lower on the racetrack, trying to clear the nose of the air from the 971, just what we talk about. 18 laps into this run, already making a lot of headway, and there's not been much of a gap formed between these top cars. Everyone really staying together here in this front pack. This goes back to 6th place. Trey Whited tails this group. Running in 7th is Josh Sobel in the 75 here. And it's a big gap back to a battle between Justin White and Mike Tellier. Here, both these drivers as well, I believe, in the playoffs here. Mike Tellier with a win at Daytona to open the season up. Hasn't been back to victory lane, but runs third in points. Again, another strong driver here in Mike Tellier, and Justin White locked himself in via points. So, again, a lot of these drivers we're talking about in the playoffs running up front here. I think we're seeing now, though, Patrick checking it out back up front again. Nate Maurer and Philip Scott starting to stretch a gap out back to the 77 of Doug Neal, who is under fire from Jason Gracias now.
Yes, and if you do take a quick little look at, with Doug Neal and Jason Gracias, Gracias enters that turn a lot faster. I mean, he almost goes back and bumps the back of that 77 Simbach Chevrolet, but then Jason Gracias kind of a little slow on turn exit. So he may be kind of trying to set him up and get ready for a good shot here on one of these turns, but not quite yet, as Jason Gracias is one to wait and take his turn to get out front there, Mitchell. But really, you kind of see these guys, some of them are spreading apart and others starting to clump up, with Martin Plute and his Toyota Twisted Steel Stake Appeal working his way up front, but now going to go ahead and Jason Gracias a good run here, and I believe a lap or so here, bud.
And Jason Gracias really entering these corners a lot higher than anyone else is, Patrick, and I'm curious to see if that's helping him save some tire, because we are getting into that point in the run where how well you save tires is really going to start to be a factor. Jason Gracias has a very different line compared to what everyone else around him is doing, but you see Martin Plute very fast, Doug Neal still fast, and now the 99 of Philip Scott starting to fall back into the clutches of Doug Neal just a little more here as they go down the back straightaway. But I think more importantly, got the 83, that's Adam Pettit. He is out the windshield of the 971 of Nate Maurer. That would put Pettit a lap down. In fact, here goes the 83 down pit road. So Adam Pettit gonna make a green flag pit stop on lap 21. I have to imagine this is probably a scheduled stop, although it is a little bit earlier than I expected, but I mean, he missed the start, Patrick, so at this point, going off strategy might not be a bad play for the 83 camp.
Yeah, but he is going to have to, once you start getting so many laps behind, you start praying for a caution at this point to try to nail yourself as a lucky dog. It's going to be hard to try to come back here at a short track like this. Saying a short track, us being here with a mile, but, it's going to be tough. I'm wondering if he just kind of did a fuel and go and then back out, seeing that he had about a 16-second pit time. It may be. He may just fuel and go and then back down the track.
It is very possible, but it does stick him 2 laps down now on the track. Of course, your leaders are going to still have to pit if this stays green. We have plenty of green flag stops left to go. That does put him in a position where he's really going to be needing one of those Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Awards if he wants to get back into it here. Of course, Nate Maurer as well, really flawless up front, it seems like. No one's been able to touch him since the start of the green flag, and now slowly creeping his way away from the 99 World Ninja League machine of Philip Scott. He's doing a good job staying in front of everyone else, and you see Jason Gracias is right on the bumper of the 77 of Doug Neal as they exit turn 4. We'll go on board here with the one of Jason Gracias here as he races behind Doug Neal, but we can see here in this onboard shot, Patrick, just how much Jason working that wheel on corner exit.
Yeah, you did see him rub that yellow line, though. We were talking about how you got to be careful when you touch that. So he just kind of slowly snuck onto it and was able to eke right back off, without hopping the car there at all. Little update there, Mitchell. I want to correct myself. Adam Pettit did take 4 tires on that pit stop, so he's trying to get the rubber heated up here pretty quick. As we saw him catching back up to the lead, trying to get off a lap down, but slid coming through that turn as we're taking the ride along here with Jason Gracias.
Yeah, and Adam Pettit will be running much faster laps than everyone else is around him, though. That is something to keep in mind here. Last time by, Pettit ran well, we'll let him get the tires heated up because that lap was actually slower than Nate Maurer's. And Patrick's laughing at me. You just kind of let me go on that little.
I was going, boy, I don't know if I'd say that. That was pretty crummy lap there.
All
there we go.
right.
That's a good lap there.
That's a little bit better. 31.457 for Adam Pettit versus a 32.130 for your race leader Nate Maurer. So that is a 7/10 of a second, just under 7/10 faster on that one lap. So he is going to be making up lap time, is Adam Pettit. You see him working through some of these leaders, but Again, he's got 2 laps to make up, and eventually these drivers are going to come down and take fresh tires, and then that kind of flips around, so it can be a double-edged sword getting off strategy like this. You're going to be faster for a little while, but eventually you're going to be slower than everyone else when they come down and take 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
Yeah, it is definitely a gamble. Yeah, you may be praying for a caution, or he may run out of tires toward the end. These guys are stretching it out a bit farther. We are getting almost about lap 30 here. So 30% of the way into the race, Adam Pettit already is down a set of tires. You know, these guys will be able to kind of squeeze an extra pair toward the end of the race in case something happens. Pettit may be running out of options, and that will be, we'll have to see if that bites him toward the end there, Mitchell.
Yeah, we will just have to wait and see what happens to the 83 of Adam Pettit. I think I'm finally starting to get that number right after he changed it from 17 to 83. 971 again. Nate Maurer continues to stretch out that race lead. That's up to 2 seconds now, back to the 99 of Philip Scott. So Nate Maurer up front will pull up the World Racing Network head-to-head lap tracker. He is doing a great job here, really saving up those tires, and you see him able to paint that yellow line on the exit. I think that is the big thing that's giving him so much speed, is he's still able to keep that car pointed on the exit where he wants it, and really starting to drive away now from the rest of the field.
Oh, man. I know we're kind of taking a look there at Nate Maurer, but Adam Pettit is around. Oh, he's almost sliding into pit.
Can he keep it out of the barrels? Yes.
All right.
We will go back and take a look at that one. Thank you for catching that, Patrick. Yeah, that was definitely a moment for Adam Pettit. We'll go and see on the World Racing Network replay here. We'll see if this is a good camera angle. Not quite sure. I think this will be a little bit better. Did he get a little contact from Gracias off the corner? I think it's very possible that he did. We'll go back from another angle right on board with the one. I'm not sure there wasn't a little contact between those two, Patrick.
Yeah, it may be.
On board with Jason Gracias here.
I'll say, if on board doesn't do it, man, that chopper view's got to show it from somewhere. Something happens here.
Oh, there was a little. Just a little.
Ooh. Man.
Enough to get mad about after the race. Contact between those two there.
All right, quick little update back live. Martin Plute and Justin White have gone ahead and brought it down pit road. Trey Whitehead, Jason Gracias, Mike Telly are now heading down pit road. So pit window is opening here, Mitchell, and we're going to have to see, who decides to stay out and who comes in, as we got, looks like, more and more Ira Colas now going ahead and coming down. So very, very interesting strategy here, but, with the amount of fall off, you got to start taking your chances now.
I mean, we are at the 1/3 race mark, so I guess it doesn't completely surprise me to see drivers come in at this point in the race. Get those tires. Ira Kohlhaas down pit road again, keeping an eye on Ira because that is the last car in the playoffs, trying to beat the 31 of Brock Whitehead by probably could be a lot of positions, but definitely want to keep that as close as possible, and Ira will be through to the Beer Street Journal playoffs. That is the only available playoff spot. And there goes your race leader, 971, down pit road. Will Philip Scott follow? No, the 99 stays out on the track and to pick up the bonus point for a lap led. That leaves just a couple drivers left out without pitting. Adam Newton in the 9 has yet to come down. Steven Lachensky in the 13 has yet to pit. Bryce Hunter in the 49, Tom Lester, Stan Hausman, I believe all have yet to come down to make their pit stops here. The rest of the field has been down pit road, and Philip Scott, now he comes down pit road, so the 99 going to give up the lead. We'll see if the 9 of Adam Newton, who's in a Dale Earnhardt throwback here, love to see that. The 9 car is going to stay on the racetrack. We'll see if he picks up the lap led there. I think Philip's going to get that one. But the 9 car, the only car now yet to make a pit stop. Actually, Stan Hausman and Tom Lester have also yet to pit, but the 971 already working his way around those two. You see there the 48 of Lester and the speed difference those fresh tires have.
definitely making a big turnout with, being able to get around the track here on fresh tires. I want to throw it back there a little bit there, Mitchell. A little update: when Nate Maurer pit, Doug Neal being as far back as he was when Nate Maurer started pulling away. Doug Neal almost hit the barrels heading into pit. So a quick shot of puffs on an oxygen tank there, because I'm sure he was gasping. He barely missed those barrels, but he was able to squeak into pit road at the same time. But hopefully he hasn't lost too many positions. I believe right now he is holding strong 8th place, but we got a lot of guys who haven't pit yet, saying that you said Adam Newton hasn't pit, Lester hasn't pit, and Sam Kohlhaas I don't believe is pit either.
Yeah, there's a couple drivers, like you said, yet to come down pit road. Keeping an eye on the 9, because I want to catch an onboard of him going down pit road, because this is a very narrow entrance to the pits here. Again, the 9 is your race leader right now. We'll jump on board again in hopes that maybe, just maybe, Adam Newton gonna pit this time. But it is very tricky. I'm not surprised to hear that the 77 had troubles. You can kind of see it there. Just really, we've talked about difficult pit road entrances. Martinsville definitely won last week. Not easy to get that car slowed down. But yeah, that's another thing these drivers just have to be careful of under green flag stops when you're trying to push it in as much as you can. It's really easy to go a little bit too hard in those yellow barrels of doom, I guess we can call them, sitting right there and want to destroy your race car. And Adam Pettit had a close encounter with it. The 9 continues to stay out on the racetrack. It's just the 9, the 48 of Tom Lester has stayed out still, and Sam Kohlhaas in the 28 have yet to stay out. 40 laps they've made it on tires, so they're kind of testing the window to see how far we can make it later in the run. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of your leaders look at this and maybe want to stretch it just a little bit later.
Quick looking at Jason Shue is down pit. Stan Hausman, he went ahead and pit back there on lap 38. So you are seeing almost a 10-lap stretch when these guys are in or not pitting. Adam Pettit pit back on lap 29. Brock Whitehead back on 31. But you had Stan Hausman pit on lap 38. So it's. I wonder how this will play out with the way they're pitting. Maybe he'll be able to stretch the fuel a little longer. And I think everyone's kind of playing on a caution here, that something's going to happen and kind of flip the script and go ahead and get this back underway. I'm not sure if something happened to Jason Shue, but he is still down pit road, so I'm not sure if he's there. But as you get a quick little look, Adam Newton coming down there pit road right now.
Yeah, Adam Newton in the pits now. That turns the race lead back over to the 971 of Nate Maurer, picking up where he left off right before this pit cycle began. Martin Clute, the driver, in second place right now. He runs just under 2 seconds behind Nate Maurer in that Simbox 971. Jason Gracias also right there with him. Martin Clute actually got way up the racetrack there. That opens the door for Jason Gracias to potentially take second. They're going to drag race down the front straightaway side by side into turn number 1. But it looks like Jason Gracias will pick up that position over the 4. You see the 49 of Bryce Hunter as well there. He is lapped. So that 49 picked up the win back at Atlanta not too long ago, but Milwaukee not quite going the way of Bryce Hunter here tonight. He finds himself 1 lap down. But he is in position for that Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award, were we to get it. So not completely out of it yet. Do want to take a moment as well to go look out at the chat. Haven't gotten the chance to do it yet. And we had some cool input earlier as well. I saw Will Radcliffe's out there in the chat. Can finally tune into a race tonight. Glad to have you back watching. RC Plains saying let's go Philip Scott. Philip currently running in 5th place, so good night for the 99. Tristan Maher says love this track. Again, I personally have not had the chance to race it. I don't know about you, Patrick, but it definitely looks fun from up here. Then we also had Ryder out in the chat saying Philip was just talking about how Daytona used to be raced on a beach before it was a speedway. We talked about that earlier too, Patrick. Among other old track stuff in talk of weird tracks, and I cannot read tonight, Patrick, and fictional game tracks. And then Stay Tuned Sports out in the chat saying, okay, I didn't bring these people with me. Here's also Stay Tuned Sports saying, what kind of lap times are they putting down? Nate Maurer, your race leader last time by, ran a 31.619. This is on slightly older tires. The fastest lap of the race was run by Nate Maurer. He ran a 30.953, and I do believe he is the only driver to break into the 30-second bracket here tonight. Second fastest lap of the race, held by the driver in second, and is Jason Gracias with a 31.036. So right around the 31s, really, 31 flats, 31 ones. That seems to be the fast lap speed your leaders are running here tonight. But a caution flag in the air, Patrick. I don't know how long that's been there, and I've been nerding out about lap times, but we got to go figure out what happened here, because you talked about them banking on a caution. Well, there it is.
Yeah, I believe something happened to Mike Tellier coming out of turn 4. It didn't look too good for that Hello Kitty car, but we'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, Mike Tellier, you see it. You were exactly right. Down the front straightaway. This is a really weird incident. He was well out of the corner. Hello Kitty got a couple apples too close to the wall. I want to go on board because I don't wonder if there was some mechanical issue there for the 47, because that was just a little bit of a weird way to wreck, I want to say. Coming out of turn 4 here, down the front straightaway. Gets off the corner, and then just kind of goes right into the wall down the straightaway. Not typical incident, I guess. A little unusual, but single car wreck. Puts us under our first caution of the night. Again, Mike Tellier in the 47. Little bit of contact with that front stretch wall, and we have all your leaders now down pit road, Patrick. Not really surprised to see them all going for those 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, I guess the guys who did pit late, would be a good time to stay out there. Racers like Stan Houseman, Tom Lester, Sam Colas, that would be best for them to stay out, go ahead, get a wave around, and get all back on the lead lap there. I don't know, like I said, if the 47 of Tellier, if he's going to be able to return. I'm assuming he probably got a pretty good amount of damage kind of kissing off that inside wall there. But real good shout out there for Tom Lester in the 48 Chevrolet. Him avoiding that wreck when you saw that 47 come back up that track. He didn't really change his race line, but man, he had his eyes open, almost bugging out of his helmet to make sure he stayed away from that one and only keep it a single car spin out.
Yeah, he did a really good job there. I think we haven't done this much this season. I think this is a great chance to talk to a driver, and who better to talk to than Nate Maurer in the 971. Do you got a copy?
I got you. How you doing, Mitchell?
Doing pretty good. Just wanted to check in with you under this caution because you've been the driver everyone's chasing so far here tonight. That 971 looking really fast out there.
It was. Now regroup everything. People had some time here to get resituated, know how to run their car differently. I did not want that caution, but see what happens here now.
And how big is the tire wear out there? We've been kind of talking about that all through the night. How quickly do those tires go away, and how tricky is it to handle these cars over the run for you guys here tonight?
Tire wear all seems pretty quick, but I'm kind of really driving it kind of slow, backing up everything throughout the whole run. But yeah, it gets a little loose sometimes coming off of turn 4. But other than that, it handles pretty good. Pretty good setup this week. Justin White handed us here.
Well, that's definitely good to hear. See you all getting gridded up to go back. Green flag. I'll let you go, but thanks for stopping by and chatting with us here under this caution, mate.
Thanks, Mitchell. Have a good one, buddy.
That was your current race leader, the 971 of Nate Maurer. Actually, I take it back because Patrick Morrison was correct. Great time to stay out. That's exactly what Adam Newton thought in the number 9 machine. He is your race leader here up the inside lane. He has Nate Maurer starting in his outside, only 7 lap older tires, so not terrible in terms of staying out under a caution, but still, I have to imagine going to be a little bit difficult for him to hang on. But we will see what he can do here, getting ready to go back green flag.
Yeah, nothing too bad there to shake from Adam Newton. Up 16 spots from where he started in his Chevrolet, but he's definitely got Nate Maurer on the outside that he will have to contend with. No, you know, it's going to be hard to kind of figure out if Nate Maurer would prefer this outside line. Going ahead and taking a shot around here. We take a little look back there in the back. Looks like Justin White and the 48 of Tom Lester heading down pit road again. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to fix a little bit of damage, try to get that, you know. Looks like Justin White's got a little side damage there, but I believe the pace truck lights are out, so they've got to hurry up, make a quick stop, and get back out there because this thing's about to go into green.
Yeah, I think they might have extended it a lap too, because from what it looked like, not everyone was formed up here in the back, so I think they might have thrown one extra yellow. I'm not quite sure about that, but if memory serves me right, I think there's a little dispute for position back here. The 33 and the 88 kind of looked like they were going for the same plane. I could be wrong about that too, but yeah, getting ready to go back green flag racing. I do believe, let's look, I think 29 of Ira Kohlhaas picked up a Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. Maybe it was Tom Lester actually in the 48. I think Tom Lester got it. That's going to be my final decision, and we are green flag racing, and it did not take long at all for Nate Maurer to get back out into the race lead, not even into turn one, and he already had that lead. You see the 9 of Adam Newton really struggling up the inside, already getting passed for third by the 4 of Martin Plute. See if he can't settle in, get a groove, but Jason Gracias now jumping up to the outside, trying to take away fourth, but Philip Scott has other plans here. He's on the attack of Jason Gracias.
Yeah, Adam Newton definitely having a hard time, and the heat cycling of these tires are going to be a little harder to go ahead and get them remelted, so they'll start tacking up and sticking. As he dials back to the 4th position, going to have to fight to keep Jason Gracias off as he's heading down the backstretch with that one hot on his tail.
Yep, headed into turn number 3. Jason Gracias thought about diving up the inside, but didn't quite have the run. Gonna look now out of turn number 4. There's the run for Jason Gracias, and he gets up the inside of Adam Newton down the front straightaway. Again, Nate Maurer did get your race lead back. He has a comfortable lead over his teammate Doug Neal up at the front of the pack. Now it's Jason Gracias going to be able to clear the 9 of Adam Newton. Leave the door open for Philip Scott, who's now attacking the driver who stayed out on that last caution. It's still not a bad strategy as long as he can hold some track position, keep it in the top 10. I don't fault him at all for the play. Yes, he didn't maintain the lead maybe as long as he had hoped for, but still, you're going to come out of this with some decent track position if you can get settled down, get your rhythm back, and again, maybe you can learn a thing or two about the line from these guys running up here at the front. I think it's a good play for the 9, even though he didn't hold the lead. I really like the decision to stay out.
Yeah, well, it seemed to work out there for him pretty well, but man, Jason Gracias and Philip Scott super fast here on these new tires, and they're going to have to figure out how to calm down if they want to make them last, but really rotating up to the top 3. Martin Plute trying to make the moves here on Doug Neal for that 2nd position, and yeah, wow, gets close on exit there, almost clips the back of that 77, but away they go, trying to file back in. 1, 2, 3 of Nate Maurer, Doug Neal, Martin Plute in the top 3.
Here's a replay we've got for you. The 9 got really loose. Adam Newton, Josh Sobel in the 75 machine really had to check up to not get a big piece of that one. We'll go on board with him. Almost an incident down the front straightaway, though. Good driving by these Beer Street Journal Grand National Series boys not to make that happen on board with Jason Gracias. You see just the 9, a little bit loose on exit. Big contact, actually, for the 75. He's going to have a lot of damage after that one. Again, a lot of damage on the rear bumper of the 9 of Adam Newton, as well as we're going to look back live here. The 75 still running in 6th. The 9 of Newton has dropped into 8th, and it is still Nate Maurer up leading this race. And interesting line from Martin Plute. ducked way below that yellow. Haven't seen anyone do that here tonight. I didn't think it was possible to do that. Maybe he didn't mean to do it. I'm not quite sure, but he was using all of turns 1 and 2 to try and get through. Again, this is a 3-car breakaway now for the race lead. Then Philip Scott behind him in 4th. Jason Gracias rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, a little farther back in the field here, Mitchell. Just looking back a few laps ago, you don't have to go to it, but Steven Lezinski, I'm sure, has a few words for Ira in that 29 machine. Ira got a little loose coming out of 4 and came down and really hammered the right front of that 13 Chevrolet of Steven Lezinski. So, man, I'm sure he's lighting up that radio right now, trying to hope Ira doing his best to try to keep that, that car together in one piece and on a straight line. As we're waiting, watching these track temps make a big change here so far.
And Ira Kohlhaas again looking at those playoff points. Ira is that 10th driver, so just needs a good clean run here tonight. And Brock Whited in the 31, who you see Ira chasing. He is 30 laps down out of this race, so Ira Kohlhaas really just has to put a clean run together. Sam Kohlhaas is the only 2 points behind Brock, but that's 178 points behind Ira. Sam Kohlhaas runs in 14th, Ira Kohlhaas 11th. So as of right now, it would be that 29 car taking that final playoff spot if he can finish this out clean here. Just under 40 laps to go here at the Milwaukee Mile, and it is still these 3 cars up front leading the way. Nate Maurer, though, really been the dominant car this race, but it's taken him a while to break away. We saw that the last run as well, where it took him almost till the end of the run, Patrick, before he really got a clean breakaway from everyone else. And we're kind of seeing that again here with his teammate Doug Neal right behind him, and Martin Plute as well in the 4 machine, hounding Doug Neal. In fact, going to try and make a move into 3. I take it back. Doug Neal, the one who looks at lunging on Nate Maurer, but not enough speed.
Yeah, Martin Plute trying to be careful not pushing that Chevrolet of Doug Neal's Simbox around. You see Martin Plute, he gets a great entry and then just has to check up a little bit, and it's definitely kind of thrown Martin Plute's line off. He may have to start entering a little bit higher to try to save his tires, to try to see if he can outwit Doug Neal. But, the 2 Simbox machines up front here, Mitchell, I just don't know if Martin Plute's got it in his Toyota to get slid around there and get his way farther up on the podium than he is right now, as we're coming down with only about 35 laps to go.
I mean, you have Nate Maurer here leading the race. Nate has 2 wins this season, but the 2 drivers behind him, Doug Neal and Martin Plute, neither of them have a win on the books for this season, so both of them would like to get themselves into victory lane here tonight, headed into the Beer Street Journal playoffs. Martin Plute, though, is 3rd. I'm watching him. He is really wheeling that race car. See him sliding out of corners, running down below the yellow line. He is doing everything he can to try and get some extra rotation in this car, to try and get himself up past Doug Neal. But right now, these 3 just seem like they're really equal on speed. No one can get the edge over anybody else.
Almost touched right there, Mitchell. And like I said, you do see it when you see, Martin Plute try to get toward the outside, gets that, little puff of clean air right there. Boom, and then he almost runs right up on him, and then, he just can't get around him. He ain't got the exit to get around that 77. Ooh. So Martin Plute, kisses it off the wall right there, and hopefully that doesn't cost him too bad.
Yeah, I was going to say got right up on Doug Neal. Oh, sends it into the corner. I almost thought he was going to go do a little bit of a love tap there to the 77, but no, it stays clean, and he's right back on him. But it just got a little bit too close. The dirty air just sent that 4 car up the track. Did a good job not making that any worse than it needed to be, but he did get up into that outside wall. So we'll keep an eye on the 4 of Martin Plute. All of a sudden, things have started to spread out here for these top 3. You see a gap between them starting to form up. That's exactly what Nate Maurer wants to see. Looking for his 3rd win of the season, going for 2 in a row as well, is Nate Maurer. Again, comes into tonight your regular season points leader, hasn't won the most races, but has been the most consistent throughout the regular season, and that is what has gotten Nate to this point. And with Anna Pettit having a difficult run, DNFing here again tonight, I think that really locks up the regular season for Nate Maurer. Looking at the way the points shake up with Mike Tellier, who runs third in points, having some trouble, Nate's looking really good here tonight, I think, to lock up the regular season. I don't want to speak too soon, but of course I don't think he's worried about any of that, Patrick. I think he just wants to hold off these two behind him.
Yeah, and definitely short tracks seem to be Nate Maurer's strong suit. He's able to pull away. He just knows how to get the tire wear to work out the best for him. But if we want to rotate to tire wear, Stan Houseman back on lap 38, I believe he pit, just past Adam Newton, who has a lot of damage on the right rear of his vehicle. Maybe got into the wall there a little bit, as we see Noah Owens and his 88 Chevrolet going ahead and heading down pit road already. Going ahead and, maybe trying to freshen up those tires and see if he can offset this cycle, assuming there's going to stay green to the end.
Yeah, you're right, Noah Owens. Early pit stop, although we are past the 2/3 point, so if drivers came into tonight wanting to do that third strategy, this would be the time, past the time actually, they'd want to come down. And there you see Stan Houseman in that 39 machine, the 9, Adam Newton, he's down pit road running 12th at the time. So we'll be curious to see if these leaders don't come down pit road. Everybody stays out in your top 3. You do see as well, Patrick, Martin Flute really starting to lose time to the Simbox teammates up front. I wonder if that's because of the damage he sustained when he hit that outside wall coming out of 4.
Yeah, but you got to be thinking that that 4 twist of steel steak appeal Toyota, really you got to look at from the outside looking in is he has to pit the same time as those Simbox guys do. If he pits now, it could offset and these guys try to reel him in and then he's playing the block. So, he may want to try to stay out as long as he can, but the long run speed that Nate Maurer and Doug Neal have at this track right now, it's going to be hard to offset the amount of speed that these guys are putting out right now.
Yeah, certainly these two Simbox cars have things going the way they want them to, and the other two Simbox machines as well having some quieter nights. Justin White in the 2, he's running solidly in the top 10. You see as well on the screen Bryce Hunter in the 49, running right behind him in 9th place. So all the Simbox cars right now running inside the top 10 here tonight at the Milwaukee Mile. So certainly another good showing for this team, who really has become a big player in this series. Of course, we talk about them all season long, but lately they've really found their stride, and it seems like one of them is always up here at the front. And Milwaukee, no exception here tonight. They started 1-2, and they've got it like that right now as well. Coming up on the 88 of Noah Owens on those fresh tires.
And what a great time, for, the Simbox race machines to hit their hot streak. You want to hit it right before you get into the playoffs because, man, you're going to sling in with so much momentum while these other guys are back on their heels trying to, make a good place. So these guys being able to come out here, play so well in these past 3 races, this has got to be a breath of fresh air. And being able to come out here and say, you know what, we got this. We're doing so well, we can do it again.
And look at that on your screen. Nate Maurer just kind of missed 3 and 4, and just like that, Doug Neal is going to go take your race lead here. So move the 77 up into the lead. Nate Maurer now falls to 2nd. And there is a bonus point for leading laps here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. So that is a bonus point in the books for Doug Neal. Locked into the playoffs, though, so it doesn't matter too much for him, but it's got to feel good to get up here and lead some laps. And you're exactly right, too, talking about Simbox hitting their stride right before the playoffs. That's exactly what you want to do. It's really good to go out early, win races, run inside the top 5, but then if you start, when we get closer to the playoffs, just not being able to get those runs together. Racing is so much about confidence, I found in my time, Patrick, that really, you can be fast, but if you don't have the confidence to say, okay, I can go run in the top 5 or I can go win races, you're probably not going to do it. So it is just as much a mental game as it is about the driving skill. Here we go, though. Doug Neal down pit road, your race leader. Going to be the first of the race leaders here to venture down pit road. Philip Scott comes with him in the World Ninja League 99. I would expect Nate Maurer to follow suit this lap. Probably Martin Clute also. Unless one of them feels gutsy and feels like staying out for a caution. But that would have to be a risky play here at this point in the race. As there goes Nate Maurer and Martin Clute. Both of them down pit road. Let's see. Jason Grassi is going to stay out. He will be your race leader.
Yeah, definitely trying to get slowed down for that 971 and Martin Clute. You know, getting into pit at that 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. Bryce Hunter, he's able to get it done. Yeah, and out he goes. So, man, it's just so hard coming off a turn like that, 90 miles an hour, being able to kind of, you know, slide into pit, make sure you're underneath the speed, get your 4 tires and back on the track with a full tank of fuel is really difficult to do. And we got Jason Gracias up here in the lead, so I bet you he's been kind of waiting for this time here, Mitchell. Getting up here into the lead with only 20 to go, but he is definitely going to have to pit. The last time he pit was back on lap 49, so time's ticking, and he's going to have to do it pretty soon.
We've got a great battle going on for what is second place on the racetrack at the moment, with some of your leaders having pit. That spot held by Justin White, again, another one of those Simbox machines. Fighting with Trey Whitehead, who comes into tonight. Again, another driver who's had those good runs late in the season is Trey Whitehead. Really building up that momentum. Has a win in the books this season from back at Talladega. So Trey Whitehead, a winner this season. Slow down the front straightaway, though. You see him lose the spot to Bryce Hunter. Steven Lachensky in the 13. Behind him, that car is a lap down. So is Mike Tellier. All these drivers, though, continue to stay out. No signs of coming to pit road from anybody here. I do wonder at this point, Patrick, do you think these drivers gonna stretch out this fuel as long as they can, hoping for a caution? Because, I mean, at this point, you're not going to go get Nate Maurer without a caution, so you might as well stay out and see if you can't catch a lucky one, get some track position.
Yeah, and try to see if you can stretch it out, you know, hoping for a caution. Somebody who's not right now, Nate Maurer, man, he is on the move. He went ahead and shoved the 99 of Philip Scott out of his way there, kind of gave him a little bump, pushed him out of his way, and around he goes. He's trying to make a quick breakaway here from Doug Neal, but it is not playing out too easy for him, as Doug Neal is hot on his tail, but not for long. You know, Nate Maurer now starting to stretch that lead out, so remember when you did have him up in the booth, you know, he said he was taking it easy, driving it a lot slower. I think he's definitely going to start pushing the envelope now and getting his way up front. But, you know, Martin Clute hit the same time as Nate Maurer, and you see Martin Clute actually about a second ahead of him as well, you know, about a second and a half. So I don't know if Martin Clute only took, 2, and that's what you see is happening right now, is that Ford machine going ahead and pulling away.
And I've seen races won off a 2-tire stop as well, but he is not very far in front of Nate Maurer, but we'll see how that works out for Martin. I have to feel like you're right that was a 2-tire stop for the 4. But Nate Maurer, again, I think you're exactly right on your other point. We've gotten through the last green flag pit stop that's scheduled. Now the end is within sight, 16 laps to go. You're going to push a little bit harder here, trying to get to the end. And if you were the 77 Doug Neal, all you've got to do here is keep Nate Maurer in your sights. Don't let him get away, because if he slips up, which is most likely to happen in the final laps of the race when the most pressure is on you, that's Doug Neal really wants to be there to take advantage of any opportunity he gets. But Nate's just run such a solid race. Again, he's no stranger to victory lane, done it twice already this season alone. The rest of the drivers continue to stay out. Top 3 drivers, Jason Gracias, Justin White, Trey Whitehead, still no signs of coming down pit road for those 3. This is a gaggle of cars right here. Nate Maurer is actually about to have to work himself through. You see the 33 Trey Whitehead actually going to get passed for position, not even come down pit road yet.
Oh, man, Nate Maurer just had to check up right there. Martin Plute had a smooth sailing through those last cars right there, passed him on the front stretch, but Nate Maurer had to check up. So right now, I think you're looking at your race leader here in a little bit. Justin White hit on lap 52. Jason Grossi's back on lap 49. So those guys are going to have to pit down here in a little bit. 12 to go as we get around here. So, man, Martin Plute, he's able to stay out in front, but, Nate, is that two-tire stop going to pay off, and is he going to win the race here? Only time will tell, but it isn't very long.
I think the most important thing that happened there in that cycle as well is Doug Neal really got held up. Nate got held up a little bit, but Doug Neal got stuck behind Trey Whited and Mike Tellier side by side. He lost a ton of time, and we talked about just need to keep the 971 within reach. Well, Nate Maurer is what I would call well out of reach now for Doug Neal. He is about a second out in front of him, and that's quite a big gap. That's also where Martin Plute runs, because look, Nate Maurer has caught the number 4 machine. These two both have pitted. Now keep in mind, this is technically on the track to battle for second place, because Jason Gracia still has yet to come down pit road, but he is approaching. He's been out on track 41 laps. That's as long. Oh, contact between those two. How did Martin Plute save that one? I do not know.
I definitely see Martin Plute coming back and going ahead and giving him a little of his taste of his own medicine right here a little bit as he may door him. That may have been kind of a crummy move, but that 4 is definitely going to send this thing into the corner, and let's see how clean these guys can or cannot race.
Not so clean from the 4. I mean, it was clean racing, a clean little bump through the corner from Martin Plute, but Nate Maurer is now back out in front of him, and that did bring Doug Neal back into the fight the time those two lost. I'm going to be honest, if I was Martin Plute, I'd have given him a lot more than that through turns 3 and 4. They kind of went into turn 1. They were just both fighting for the inside lane. That's just good, hard racing, but Martin Plute definitely came out on the short end of that exchange. Nate Maurer gets around him. And now they just sit and wait for the one of Jason Gracias to come down pit road, which he still has yet to do. This is about the longest we've seen anybody go. I think somebody stretched it 46 laps earlier, I'm pretty sure. Jason Gracias working lap 43 of his run, so it would be very impressive if he can make it to the end. I don't think that is in his cards here tonight, but I do love the strategy. You almost got the caution here with Nate Maurer and Martin Plute. Not quite, but, that something like that could happen again in the next couple laps. It's happened before.
Yeah, it is definitely possible, but Jason Gracias is losing a lot of speed. Only 3.5 seconds, and less than that now. Almost 3 seconds only with Nate Maurer catching up to him. So, not very long for that 971 to catch him there, as I believe he's starting to Gracias is hitting a little bit of lap traffic, so it's going to cost him again, falling farther and farther back. So Jason Gracias may have to check out of this one. 7 laps to go once we hit the line, and Martin Plute definitely starting to fall off here a little bit, Mitchell. I'm wondering if he's got anything left for Nate Maurer, or if he's just going to have to block off Doug Neal.
Yeah, Nate Maurer is starting to create a bit of a gap. He continues to be the fastest car on the racetrack as well right now. Only 1.5 seconds behind Jason Gracias at this point. I think he'll catch him regardless whether we get a pit stop or not. Nate Maurer going to be on him here in the next lap, but you see there right on the left side corner of your screen, that's Jason Gracias, Nate Maurer right behind him. So momentarily, we will have a battle for the race lead. I don't expect Jason Gracias to put up too much of a fight for this one, because I think he's a clean racer. He knows that they've got fresh tires behind him, and we'll see here. Yep, just kind of pulled up the track, said, all right, there you go. Oh, the 4 sent it into the corner.
Yeah, Martin Plute trying to give it everything he's got. Only 5 left to go here in the race, and man, Martin Plute doing everything he can, but that 77 of Doug Neal might have the upper hand here as he's trying his best to try to get around his Toyota. But man, this is some tough battling here. 5 left to go. I didn't think it'd be this close of a shootout here toward the end.
No, the Milwaukee Mile tends to create more spread out races, so I'm very happy to see these drivers continue to battle like this. as we get into the closing stages. Look, though, in front of Nate Maurer. This is not going to help him. Ira Kohlhaas taking the line on exit. That is going to hurt Nate Maurer. He's also got, I believe, the 49 of Bryce Hunter up there. Yes, it is. You see the 4 of Flute. He's just so close, but he's got to get a little closer if he wants to make something happen. I don't think he'd be afraid to make that lunge after the contact we saw just a little bit ago, but he's got to be a little closer to Nate Maurer than that, although Bryce Hunter here really going to help his cause. You're going to see that it's going to hurt the 971. Look how far down he has to go on exit and still didn't make the pass. Martin Flute diving it into the corner. Look at how close the 4 car is now, but can he get it on exit? That is the question. Also, Jason Gracias is down pit road. 3 laps to go, though, in the Milwaukee Mile to close out the regular season.
Yeah, definitely tough here. Martin Flute, there he goes, sliding through the turn. So he is definitely wheeling that Ford machine Toyota. He just ain't got enough behind him, and he wishes he had another set of tires he could throw him real quick, because, man, he is trying his best to get caught up to Nate Maurer with only 2 to go. White flag next time by. And, man, I just don't know if he's got enough here, Mitchell. Go ahead and get caught up.
I think he's been pushing that car a little too hard, a little too long there, as Martin Flute. You can see really once it slides it through the corner again, that's going to overshoot it slightly. Just, he really wants it coming to 1 lap to go, though. I think Nate Maurer has this one as close to being in the bag as he can get it. He's got a really good gap, just over half a second back to Martin Flute. The battle actually going to be for second place, I think, between Martin Flute and Doug Neal. We'll see down the back straightaway for the final time in this one. Nate Maurer through 3 and 4. Great season, great race, dominant performance from Nate Maurer as he exits turn 4. He is going to pick up his 3rd win of the season here at the Milwaukee Mile, and he is also going to be your regular season champion here in the 2022 NSRA Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. So a big congratulations goes out to Nate Maurer on not only his performance here tonight, but his performance throughout the season. Of course, it's not the big end of the season championship, but definitely a confidence builder headed into the Beer Street Journal playoffs starting next week. You see drivers coming by to congratulate him, some of his teammates here. It was just a great race. It was a nail-biter to the end, Patrick, but Martin Flute just didn't quite have enough to take advantage of Nate Maurer.
Yeah, but still a great job there by Martin Flute. He was wheeling that car all over the track, trying to run him down, and we've seen that a lot out of Martin Flute. You know, no matter what series I find him in, that's just what he can do. He knows the tolerances of the car. What he doesn't know are the tolerances of the tires, whether they will or won't stick, and how long or not long they will last. So, man, really, it's nothing to hang your head about. Nate, Martin Flute still came out in second, chasing Nate Maurer, who was super fast all night. And yeah, Doug Neal, you were able to separate the Simbox machine. So, I mean, really, Martin Flute, you don't hang your head. He still came out there and, had a great run here at the Milwaukee Mile.
And he is still going to be in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series playoffs as well. Don't forget, he is another driver who is going to be racing for the championship coming up next week is when that starts, and we will give you more of a rundown on that in the post-race show. As Nate Maurer does his celebratory burnouts, we are going to work on lining up our post-race interviews for tonight. So we will try and let's see who we are talking to tonight. It is going to be Doug Neal, Martin Flute, and Nate Maurer. Your top 3, definitely all 3 of them, Patrick. Great run here from all 3 of them. Broke away there at the end as well, and we'll let Nate Maurer finish up his celebration, then we'll kind of talk to those 3. So stick right with us here on the World Racing Networks, folks. We are going to be right back with your post-race show from the Milwaukee Mile. Welcome back here on the World Racing Network. It is time for some post-race interviews here tonight in the World Racing Network post-race show from the NSRA Beer Street Journal Grand National Series race from the Milwaukee Mile. Great one to close out the regular season, and it is going to be Nate Maurer picking up the win, but we got plenty of drivers to talk to, and we are going to start the show off with Doug Neal, driver of the Simbox number 77 machine. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear there, Mitchell.
It was a great run for you and your teammate Nate Maurer, picking up top 3 finishes for both of you, and just another strong performance from you here coming to the end of the regular season. Just first of all, how do you think your regular season's been? I know you're headed for the playoffs here next week, but have you been happy with the performances, especially lately here going into the race for the championship?
Lately, I have been, yeah, but early in the season, I had a lot of problems. Got caught in some wrecks and stuff, and it really hurt my chances. I don't think I'm in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I don't know for sure, but um, yeah, like I said the last a couple of weeks ago, last time I interviewed with you, I love these flat tracks and these short tracks, man. That's my bread and butter, and I started not to take tires there at the end. My tires were still at 80 after I came out of the pits, and if I hadn't taken tires, I might have had a chance, but I don't know. I'm pleased with third, though. I'll take it. I hosted a session this afternoon. Me and Nate ran, I don't know, we probably ran 100 or so laps trying to get the car dialed in with the setup. I think it helped us both doing that. Shame we don't do that more. Usually we just get in here at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock before the race and practice. But yeah, that definitely helped us some tonight.
Yeah, I do apologize too. I thought you were in the playoffs. It doesn't look like that, but still nothing to be ashamed of. You've been up front a lot here lately, and we've seen a lot of you again and your teammates, but the Milwaukee Mile got to be one of the more challenging tracks we've been to this season. And just take us through your race here tonight specifically. What kind of did you find out there that was making it work for you?
Well, I started out with my brake bias really low, about 59 or 60, and then during practice, and I felt like I was slower on the long run by doing that, so I bumped it back up to started it off at 62 and just gradually dropped it down as I went through the run, and it really helped on the long run speed. Um, but I mean, I ran it as hard as I could there towards the end. I started overdriving it too much trying to catch Martin, but he was faster right there at the end. So, but I mean, I'm very well pleased with how we performed tonight. Me and Nate and the rest of the guys, we all thought we did a pretty good job. I question myself on the tires right there at the end. I don't know if it would have helped if I hadn't taken tires, if I could have got out in front of Martin and stayed out, because I think he took only right sides there at the end. But I don't know. I'm pleased with third. I'll take it. And as far as a chase for the championship, it's not a big deal. I'm terrible on the rest of the tracks that's coming up anyway, so I wouldn't have a chance if I was in there just taking somebody's spot, you know.
You don't like Pocono, the tricky triangle next week?
Now I do like Pocono.
All
I will
right.
say that. I do like Pocono. Just because it's flat on one end.
Pocono is always one of my favorites, so I'm glad to hear you like it too. We got a lot of good stuff. Got the road course coming up. First one of the season. Only one on the schedule, actually. So plenty of good racing coming up here for us. But do you have a favorite track? I'll put you on the spot that we have coming up here in the playoffs. I don't know if you've looked at the schedule too much, but
Look,
do you have one
I do
here?
like Pocono.
Pocono.
Yeah, but I don't know what else we got coming up. The road course is definitely not it. I can tell you that. That's
Or
one
one
just
for
try to keep it
two.
on the track. I just try to keep it on the track on the road course, you know. But yeah, but congratulations to Nate winning tonight. Congratulations to Martin for finishing second. He had a good run too. I know they got together right there towards later in the race, about 90 laps in, and I don't know what happened with that, but I hate that. But just good hard racing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's great racing we've seen all season from you all. Can't wait for the rest of the season here in the playoffs. And before we let you go, Doug, give you a chance to give any shout outs you want to give to those sponsors or people who helped you get out here racing.
Just my button box company. If anybody's looking for a button box, just hit me up on Facebook at Simbox PC. Simbox PC on Facebook, or just message me, and I'll be glad to set you up with something and good quality boxes at low prices. So I can help you out. And of course, shout out to all my teammates: Nate, Justin, Adam, I forgot who I was. Tom Lester and Bryce Hunter. They're all in there tonight. We had a good time,
Yeah, well,
and
thank
that's
you.
what it's all about.
Sorry.
No, that's all. That's what it's all about. Just having a good time.
Yeah, it definitely is. And again, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on a great run again here tonight. Can't wait to look forward to seeing you at the Tricky Triangle next week. Maybe you'll get back up here to talk with us again.
All right, Mitchell. I appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good night.
That was Doug Neal. He's going to come home third place here tonight at the Milwaukee Mile. And I believe Patrick Morrison's going to go catch up with Martin Plute, driver of the number 4 machine.
Oh man, Martin Plute, you got a copy?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Doing all right. Am I allowed to talk to you again?
Yes. Yes, I'll allow it.
All right. I was gonna say, I know every time I kind of join up with you, you kind of have some string of bad luck. I know over at Hoss you had a little bit of bad luck at the iRacing Super Speedway. You had some bad luck right at the end, but tonight you nail second place. Was from the outside looking in now, was the 2-tire stop a good call?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. It gave me a chance at least. 4 tires was never going to give me a chance to catch up to Nate. At least the 2 tires put me in front of him and Doug, and gave me a shot at it. So it was the right call.
Okay, because we definitely, from here in the booth, we saw you guys, I saw you especially, really wheeling that car around. Did you take any substantial damage when you kind of slid out of 4 that one time and kind of, kissed it off the wall there a little bit?
No. It was, I think, half a second of damage. It didn't feel anything different, so it wasn't too bad, but yeah. Yeah, it was sliding around on 2 tires. It didn't like that. I didn't practice that, so it was it's like a slip and slide.
Yeah, that was definitely difficult, but you were still able to keep that thing stuck to the track, and you did give Nate Maurer a heck of a run. When did you ever end up at a point where it's all right? I can't catch Nate, and you started staring at that rearview mirror with Doug Neal kind of creeping up the backside there?
Yeah, about 2 to go. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to catch him once he cleared that last lap car. That point I knew it was kind of over, so it was just a matter of holding Doug off at that point. Yeah, it was him on 4 tires is just, yeah, I was never gonna do anything with that. My only chance was to block him, and one way or another he was gonna get around me.
Well, a second place finish tonight is always good to go ahead and send you into the playoffs. But really, what are you looking for? Taking the 4 Toyota, the Twisted Steel Stake Appeal into Pocono for the first race of the chase.
Yeah, Pocono's a good track. Usually do pretty okay there. Much more concerned about Watkins Glen. Not a whole lot of experience on road courses with this car, so that will be something. But yeah, Pocono should be good. Looking at the rest of the chase, should all tracks that are pretty okay, besides the Glen. So I'll just keep it on track there and should be all right.
That is definitely a difficult schedule coming up, but we'll only stick with just the one there, with Pocono and Watkins Glen after that. But man, fantastic job here tonight. Up next is the chase, and that's going to have to be your time to shine. Just barely missed the season championship there. Nate went ahead and took that, but go ahead and give us the shout outs, bud. Let's go ahead and get you back on the road and get you practicing for next week.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for broadcasting as always. Beer Street Journal for putting this on. It's a good time here. Twisted Steel, Stake Appeal. Everybody over there, and yeah, thank you guys and Stan and all the teammates, and it was definitely a group effort tonight. I had no idea what I was doing at this track, so Adam Pettit really helped.
And Adam Pettit unfortunately wasn't able to stay all in one piece here tonight, and he kind of checked out in 20th position here tonight. But hopefully he'll have a better run going into the chase.
Oh, I'm sure he will. It's hard to keep him down.
Yeah. All right, Martin, go ahead. Get on the way, bud. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see you guys.
That is Martin Plute. Patrick, thank you for catching up with him. That gave me a chance to run on down to victory lane here, talk to the man who gets his second win in a row here tonight, Nate Maurer. congratulations. You are the regular season champion. How does it feel?
It feels good. I want to go win that. I want to go win the championship that matters though. So hopefully we can keep this momentum going and push for that championship.
Yeah, well, you certainly have the momentum going into your favor here, picking up your third win of the season here tonight in the Milwaukee Mile in dominant fashion, too. There were very few laps. I don't think you had that 971 out in the race lead. Just, I think we kind of talked to you earlier, but what was it here tonight that made you so much faster than everyone else?
I think just saving tires. Doug Neal, big shout out to Doug Neal for hosting a practice session. I mean, this is probably the first time that me and Doug practiced for a league race in probably over a year, 2 years, if not more. I think it was more or less just track position. I mean, earlier today in our practice session that we had, I mean, I was just a little bit faster after like 20, 25, 30 lap runs. And we went out and did a run together then, and I could not get around him. I actually fell off. So I think it was just a dirty air that I think the key tonight was clean air out front.
Well, and you certainly had a lot of it too here. Started up on the pole, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, and winning the race. You get the clean sweep here tonight at the Milwaukee Mile. And you talk about working with teammates here. How important is that to you, especially going into the playoffs here where the level of competition just gets higher and higher? How important is it for you to work with teammates and have them to bounce strategy off of and all that stuff here when you get into this crucial part of the season?
Teammates help a lot. Me and Doug had no idea what pit strategy to call there at the end. I mean, we were trying to get Doug Neal to win to get him into the playoffs here, but just fell 2 positions short. But once I seen Philip and Plute take either 2 tires or no tires, which I later found out they took none, I thought that was the race-winning move. But then I caught Philip real quick and got around him, and then I wasn't catching Martin too quick, but we made a little bit of contact. I already told Martin the contact was going to come at some point. I was not expecting it to be there. I thought it was farther to his inside, but he just turned in to make the corner, and we made contact, which that was on me. I didn't really give him much room. But it turned out the 4-tire strategy worked, but Doug just could not get around him there at the end.
Yeah, well, still, nevertheless, for you, it's a great run here tonight. We wish Doug Neal could have gotten up there into the playoffs. That would have been a ton of fun, but still, you've got 10 great drivers here. Everyone's had great seasons that's up here in playoff contention. Well, not even playoff contention anymore. They are in the playoffs, you included. Looking ahead at the schedule, Pocono going to be the first track we go to. How do you feel about the Tricky Triangle?
It's one of my favorites, so see what can happen. So it's I don't even know what the schedule looks like, but I know Pocono's in there because you just told me. So hopefully that's where we go next, so we can keep the momentum going.
That is the one we have coming up here next Thursday night to kick off the playoffs on the World Racing Network. Looking forward to seeing you and all these Pure Street Journal Grand National Series drivers there. But before I let you go, Nate, I'll give you a chance to shout out everyone who helped you get into victory lane here tonight.
Got a shout out to you for taking your time here Thursday nights, broadcasting this. Thanks to Justin and everybody else here at NSRA and all the guys here that keep this league running. The Xfinity Series is my favorite league that runs, favorite car to drive. Got to give a shout out to Martin Plute for not paying me back after I made contact with him. Shout out to all my teammates. Every one of them are telling me different pit strategies there at the end. Maybe it's a good thing I did not listen to any of them. But shout out to my main sponsor on my car, Redneck Nation. Go over to rednecknation.com, see what they're all about.
Yeah, well, definitely, again, good luck to you headed into the playoffs. Congratulations on the regular season championship. We look forward to seeing you race all these other drivers here, trying to get the big one here, the overall championship, through the playoffs. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, guy. Have a good week, man.
And that was Nate Maurer, Patrick. That is going to round out our post-race interviews here tonight from the Milwaukee Mile, kind of what I took away from that one, everyone seems happy about Pocono next week. All three of them like Pocono.
Yeah, I'm glad to see people like you were saying before with confidence in a track. Me at Pocono, man, I'm not worth anything at Pocono. I'm good in 1 and 2, but 3 is my weak point. I just can't seem to get the setup for that. But seeing how many guys feel so confident going into Pocono, that should wrap up for a fantastic race.
Pocono was always one of my favorite tracks to drive back when I was racing in NSRA, so I'm really looking forward to sitting up here in the booth for that one. That is an amazing track, one of my personal favorites. Used to hate the place back when I was playing on console games. Could not win at Pocono. It was the only track I don't think I ever got a win on NASCAR console games before I got into iRacing, but then I got good at it somehow. So, you know, it's crazy world we live in, Patrick, with all this stuff. We'll run through your finishing order, and then we're going to take a look at some points here, because again, that does wrap up the regular season. So we'll go ahead and run you through the finishing order. First things first, it was Nate Maurer in the 971 picking up his third win of the season and the regular season championship here tonight. And it was Martin Plute in second place, Doug Neal in third. Behind them was Philip Scott in the 99 machine. He came home in fourth place. In fifth was Josh Sobel in the 75, a good top 5 run for Sobel tonight. Then it was Trey Whited in the 33, picking up the 6th place finish. In 7th was Adam Newton. It was a strong night for Newton. We saw him play some pit road strategy. Ended up going from 17th to finish 7th tonight. Good run for him. Stan Hausman also picks up a top 10. Started 18th, finishes in 8th. Great run for the Beer Street Journal driver. In 9th place was Jason Gracias. And rounding out the top 10 was the 2 machine of Justin White.
Yeah, Bryce Hunter in the 49 machine landed in 11th. 12th ended up being Noah Owens in the 88 Chevrolet. Ira Kohlhaas there in the 13th position in the 29, and 28th of Sam Kohlhaas in the 14th. So those two, 13th and 14th. Tom Lester in the 48 Chevrolet in 15th. Steven Lezinski in the 16th position in his 13 machine. Mike Tellier ended up at 17th in his 47 machine. Jason Shue ended up with a few mechanical problems there toward the end. Lands 18th. Brock Whitehead ended up with just as much trouble there in 19th. And Adam Pettit checked out a little bit early, rounding out the final 20th car for the night. Definitely looking to kind of wind up and get a better shot into the playoffs, since he has already had, I believe, 4 wins on the season, one more than Nate Maurer there. So Adam Pettit, running through a string of bad luck here, but Nate Maurer, getting a string of good luck. So we'll have to see how those guys, 1 and 2, are going to line up for the postseason.
And I think when we get into the playoffs here next Thursday night, those first couple of races, they're tough tracks, but that is going to kind of set the tone for who are really the contenders in the playoffs, because you need to establish yourself early on. Of course, we have Pocono, Watkins Glen, and Bristol, the first tracks in the playoffs. Those are not easy racetracks. I assume Bristol is the asphalt version. I think a dirt race in the playoffs would be awesome, but I think we're running the oval configuration. Yeah, we are. I see that now. But, I mean, going into next week, you kind of talked about it. Nate Maurer gonna pick up the regular season championship. Before we go through the rest of the standings, I think it's a great time to go through some of the sponsors here that help make this series possible. And again, all their support through the regular season does mean a lot to us and the National Sim Racing Association. We have, of course, Beer Street Journal, who sponsor the NSRA Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Max Graphics, Stay Tuned Sports, Simbox, Brookstone Animal Hospital, Taz Racing Customs, J&R Craftworks, and Eclipse Photography. All of them linked down in the video description. After this broadcast goes off the air, you can go check them out. Give them some love. Now we will look here, Patrick. They've already updated the standings. That's what I love. They do it so quickly here at the National Sim Racing Association. I can get you updated points by the time we go off the air. That's awesome. So it was Nate Maurer. Like I said, he picks up the regular season championship, but then we had some things change up behind him. Not that this is going to matter too much, because the points get reset going into the playoffs to a certain degree anyways, but Philip Scott ended up finishing second in regular season standings. Trey Whitehead finished third. Adam Pettit dropped 2 spots here tonight to fourth in regular season points. And again, for the driver, Adam Pettit led a lot of the regular season, but just 2 DNFs here at Martinsville and Milwaukee. Not the way he wanted to finish it out, but with the speed we've seen him have all season long, I don't think, and I believe it was Martin Plute who said this, I could be wrong, that I don't think they're going to keep Adam Pettit down headed into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely in that 83 machine. I definitely expect to see him bounce back. I really wish we could have gotten him up into the booth and kind of get his angle. He has a shot into the playoffs here, but what is he going to do to turn this string of bad luck around? He's got to get back on top and really, as I say, put the hammer down. He's got to get this turned around to get a good swing here into the playoffs, because only a few races and you're back out of it again. So where you place in the upcoming races is going to count all the way to the end. And Nate Maurer, with his confidence right now, Mitchell, he sounds super excited that this is the regular season championship, but the chase, that's mine, and you're going to have to really take it from that 971 car.
And Nate Maurer will be the points leader as well headed into the playoffs next Thursday night. We'll go ahead and run through the drivers who will be racing for the championship here in the NSRA Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. It is going to be Nate Maurer again leading points, Adam Pettit, Philip Scott, Mike Tellier, Trey Whitehead, Ryan Sizemore, Bryce Hunter, Justin White, Martin Plute, and Ira Kohlhaas did lock down, as far as I can tell. That's not official yet, but I don't know how Ira would have lost it here tonight. Locked down that 10th place spot. So those 10 drivers, and they are actually the same 10 drivers here on this graphic we ran before the race. Those 10 above the cutoff line are the drivers who will be racing for the series championship starting next week. They will have, let's do some quick counting here, 7 races in the playoffs, and I told you we'd go through the schedule. I won't keep you too much longer here on the post-race show, but just want to kind of, share what we have going on. We have Pocono to open it up, like we said, next week. Then it is the road course of Watkins Glen. We have not been to a road course this season. It's the only road course we get, Patrick, too. So that one should definitely be fun. That is the Beer Tree Brewfest race as well. Then we have Bristol. We have Chicagoland and Charlotte, and Kentucky, 2 3.5 miles in a row, followed by Phoenix and Las Vegas to finish off the season with the Beer Street Journal season finale. So a lot to look forward to here on the World Racing Network. Again, Patrick, before we go off air here tonight, you have any more closing thoughts?
Man, just what a battle it was here tonight. I'm interested to see how Pocono plays out. Watkins Glen will be the make or break from a lot of these drivers, who can and can't get out front. If I'm not mistaken, I've seen Jason Gracias own really, really well in that sort of venue. But me, my strong suit, Bristol. I love that concrete track and really being able to lay it down. So, but there's just so much to get lined up here at the Beer Street Journal, man. I'm excited to see how this works out for a lot of these guys in the running.
Yeah, you and I are going to disagree about Bristol. I know we do that. I've never been a fan of driving Bristol myself, but that definitely, it puts on a show on the broadcast, so we can't complain about that. And again, you brought it up too. There's drivers like Jason Gracias not in the playoffs who could still go out here and win races. Doug Neal finished third tonight. He's not in the playoffs, so there's always that factor to keep in mind. And also, I'll let you promo your broadcast stuff. I like to do that while you're up here in the booth too. I still don't have your SimTrax logo, but I need to get that.
Oh boy, yeah, I know I do have yours, but I have your plug-in at the end on my link. But we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead, quick little shout out. Join me Wednesday nights with the Racing Revolution League at SimTrax Broadcasting. You can check me out on SimTraxBroadcasting.com. I will be on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. All there. You'll be able to catch me anywhere. Oh, I even make TikToks. I got a Twitter. I got that's the part I let my wife handle. I can't figure that out to save my life. But yeah, join us there, and really the upcoming races we have are just going to be a blast, as the same way that they have here. It's just going to be so tough. I mean, up next we got Martinsville will be this upcoming Wednesday, and then after that will be Auto Club over at California. So it's every Wednesday night. It's gonna be a blast. Come over and join us. SimTracksBroadcasting.com.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Mitchell.
Hey, no problem. Hey, thank you for coming up and watching some racing with me here on the World Racing Network. Love having you as always. And again, for all of you here, make sure to tune in next Thursday night, same time, same place, to start the playoffs at Pocono. We're all looking forward to it. But until then, for all of us at the World Racing Network, my co-broadcaster Patrick Morris and myself, Mitchell Adams, we want to thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you all stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you next week.